This is RPGDad,
RPGNate.
and this is our weekly encounters wrap-up. Doing video this week, well, I guess probably because the encounter was pretty lame and short, wasn't it?
Yes.
So we might as well make the, well, we won't make it lame, but we'll make the video short, and we'll put the podcast up too. What the hell? I don't really care. So why don't you start? You're DMing this thing. What do you have to say?
It wasn't very well written, the encounter. There was a possibility that there wouldn't even have been an encounter if you guys would have just taken the jewelry off. Do you want to explain?
So you mean when the guard showed up and they were going, there's new law, new writ, whatever, that if you're wearing jewelry that's above your station, you have to take it off, turn it in, that kind of crap?
Yeah.
So the guards showed up and they gave us this spiel, and you would roll to randomly pick which was kind of funny. You're like, roll a d20. Everybody's like, why? You're like, just roll a d20. And so it ends up being the one fighter, the old guy with the two sons, and you're like, you're wearing all kinds of jewelry and finery. He's like, why?
And my answer, of course, was just, you'll see later.
That's right, old gruff guy, and he's going, why? And I'm like, well, does rouge go with that? What's going on here?
And somebody asked about makeup, and I'm like, are you wearing makeup? And he's like, no.
No. So, we come up, and the guards come up, and they start harassing him that he has to take the jewelry off. And so
Now, this was the watch, not the,
It's not the Flaming Fist. We were in the, I guess
Fist.
we were in the inner city, upper city, whatever it's
It was
called.
the lower city, I think. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
whatever.
Lower city. If
But-
you were in the upper city, you would have been fine.
So, we're walking around there, and they start harassing him, and he's ready to take it off. I go, no, wait a minute. And I said, what's going on here?
And they said stuff about the new laws. I forget exactly what.
And I said, it doesn't apply to us. We're working for the Duke, and you kept harassing. And
Well, they were like, show proof.
Well, I had the writs and stuff on me, but I honestly, you had kind of told me so beforehand that if the one encounter could either be 5 minutes or it could be longer, and then we'd be done for the night. And I'm like, well, this is probably the 5-minute thing where if he takes the jewelry off or we show proof and walk along, then we're done for the night. We're 5 minutes into an encounter session, it's supposed to be 2 hours. That would really suck.
Yes.
So what was my response?
You pulled out your great sword and you rolled a crit.
I said, this is my response. I threw it, and it came up nuke symbol on my 20, and you're like... So basically, I cleaved the guy in half because I did, 24 points of damage.
Yes. And me being me, when I drew the map, I, of course, drew the guys on the ground that was cut in half.
So,
And he was difficult terrain, if you were wondering.
and then we ended up with, a sergeant and then 6 other guys
Yes.
attacking our party. And it was funny because I couldn't hit the sergeant the next 2 times I tried to hit. Finally, I started smacking. I ended up critting so many times over the night, it was ridiculous. But I chopped the guy in half, and it's like, oh, can't roll. Fortunately, the other fighter, he came in, and he was doing well. The older fighter, he lives at 1 hit point, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He ended up at 1 hit point because you were pounding on him. You had 2 guys on him. I'm fighting the leader of this gang of thugs who were supposed to be guards. The wizard, he backed off.
They are just doing their job. They're doing their role.
There comes a point you just don't do your job. But, the wizard, he figured he backed off far enough, and you take 2 guys and you start pounding on him, with his 9 hit points.
Yeah.
And, it was mildly amusing because he got down to 1 hit point. You had him down.
Yeah.
The thief got pounded on, and the cleric.
No, he was at 2 hit points.
Okay. Well, they're all living dangerously.
Yes.
But,
well, I laughed because the rogue has 8 hit points.
yeah, he's worse than the wizard.
Yeah. The wizard has 9 hit points and the rogue has 8.
But, we ended up making it through. I think I ended up critting again in the same encounter, so I saved the wizard from the one guy. And I switched to my bow, and I critted there, and then I saved the thief on another shot. The other fighter came in and saved the other fighter who was down to 1 hit point. And it was a fun combat, but I just laugh every week because we've got these players who live at 1 or 2 hit points.
Yeah.
They might as well just start there because they're going to end up there.
Yeah. Well, if they start there, they're going to die.
That's true.
But
But we finished that up, and it was funny because the group, they're like, well, what are we going to do now? I'm like, are there a lot of witnesses? And you're like, well, there's some. And I said, do they look like they care? And you're like, no, not really. So we said, well, let's go back to the bar where the Duke was. Maybe we'll run into him. And we get there, and he's not there. And so we started passing rumors around that the Flaming Fist killed all these guards in the street.
Yeah.
And we were making our charisma checks, so we managed to pull it off and get people running around talking about the Flaming Fist killing the guards.
Well, the player to my right, the fighter to my right, he's the one that started doing it. He's like, did you hear about those guards that were cut down by the Flaming Fist? And he just keeps spreading these random stories.
And we all just keep doing the same thing, so it was kind of funny. But after that, we're like, okay, what do we do next? We're only 50 minutes into the encounter, so we made it spread a little longer by doing combat. You probably added more guys because there were 6 at the table.
Yeah.
And,
now, you guys, because you guys were walking through the town, I decided to roll on the random shop generator.
Well, no. First, you did a couple of random encounters, and I guess the random encounter table is really lame on this thing.
The first one was like a merchant lady with her. What were they?
Whoever, the porter's carrying her crap.
Yeah, porter's carrying her crap.
And then the second one was we run into some shady characters.
Yeah.
In the marketplace, and I guess the marketplace was crowded. I didn't really think of this when I reacted after what happened, but you can tell them what happened.
Well, first, I'm like, everybody roll a d20, and at this point, because I already said you see some shady characters walking around, they're like, oh crap. And the thief...
He's always the one that gets picked on.
Well, no, the first time... last time...
I'm not worried about it, but it seems like he always ends up losing his purse. He's just not a good thief. He's like a thief magnet, not a thief, because he always gets robbed.
Yeah.
And he always fails his role miserably to know that he's getting robbed.
But I rolled a 4, and I had a +1 onto that because it was the guy's dex. He rolled a 4, and he had a +0 because it was his wisdom. And he ends up getting pickpocketed and losing all his money.
But when this is all happening, I said, "Well, can I make a wisdom roll to see if I see what's happening?"
Yeah.
And you said, "Sure." So I rolled an 18 with my +4, I'm at 22. You're like, "Yeah, you see what's happening." You go, "What do you do?" I said, "I whip off my longbow and I shoot the thief." And I didn't figure, there's a crowd of people. I guess it would have gone bad if I hadn't rolled big and hit the guy.
Yeah.
So I rolled big and I did like 12 points of damage, and I killed him on the shot.
Yeah.
And you're like, you used your bow? I'm like, yeah, I didn't really think about killing bystanders.
Yeah, and then there's like this dead thief sitting there just randomly, and...
Well, the thief goes over and grabs his purse, and I said, just leave the arrow. I'm not taking the time to pull it out.
Well, you guys looted his body, and I think you got 4 coin purses with 20 gold pieces.
They looted the body. I was heading the other way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you kind of just killed somebody.
I'm putting the bow on, and I'm heading the other way.
But next, you guys were walking through, and I used the random shop generator because the random encounter generator was just complete rubbish.
But the shop generator's rubbish too, because what was it? The dozing?
No, it was the screeching, dozing boy, and it's
with a pie symbol, and it was, what the hell was the shop?
It was like a barber.
And then your barber. I mean, I'm sorry, Wizards, but you make up these tables. Don't make them retarded. I mean, he's reading it, and we're getting a good laugh out of it, but it's really.
Yeah.
So we do that, and we're maybe an hour and 5 minutes into the session, and you're like, well, what do you guys want to do? And everybody's sitting there going, I don't know. I said, are there guards over at the ship that got shut down at bar last week?
And you're asking this, and you're not even at the ship, so of course I had to say, well, you don't know.
Well, I said, well, we ask around. And we talked to some people, and he said, yeah, they're guarding the ship.
No, you didn't know, but you ripped a patch off of one of the watchmen.
No. If you remember, we asked that, and when we asked around, and they said, yeah, the Flaming Fist have guards posted there. I said, I have an idea. And what was my idea?
Your idea was to go frame the watchmen as if they killed the guards.
Because we've already framed the Flaming Fist for killing the watchmen we killed.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, let's just flip it and kill the watchmen, the Flaming Fist guys.
You can't even say it.
I can't even say it, but it was funny because I'm like, well, let's frame the guards for killing the Flaming Fist in revenge. So
well,
we
they
find
go there and
no, we didn't get there yet. On the way, I said, do we run into any guards that are by themselves?
Yeah.
And you said, you rolled and you go, yeah, you do. So I said, all right, thief. I should have known, don't ask the thief to do it. I said, go over and pat the guy, say, good job, and rip the patch off of him when he doesn't know it. Do a thiefy thing.
Yeah.
And he rolls a 1.
He rolls a 4.
I guess so. Yeah, that's right. It is his favorite number to roll.
Yeah.
And you're like, he goes, get off me, what are you doing? And I walk over and I say, all right, well, I walk over and I say, he's just telling you good job. And I rolled an 18 on my dex thing, and the +4 gives me a 22. I say, do I get the patch? And you're like, yeah. And then the other fighters and all come over, oh, they're just saying good job, good job. And the guy's like, oh, thank you, thank you. And then we said, there's some guys down there with jewelry on they're not supposed to have. And he goes, oh, I'm going to go get them. So he ran off, and now we've got the patch, the planted evidence. And we come to the ship, and you had 2 guards posted.
Yes, 2.
Just 2, but
these were the highest level guards I could possibly put there.
And they were 4th level guards.
Yes.
And what happens when I get there?
You roll a crit.
Yeah, I see. You say, well, you have set down. They're set up by the dock leading up, and we're way over here on the map. And you go, what do you do? And I said, I shoot him with an arrow.
Yeah.
And I crit again.
Yeah.
So, and you're like, damn it. So you had to throw in another big guy, but that at least took us to where we were like an hour and 45 minutes in by the time we got done.
Yeah.
But the thing didn't really... Here's the problem with this encounter session. It's not giving you a lot of direction.
No.
It gives you a very small blurb, depending on who you took.
Yeah.
And that blurb doesn't give you much to work with as far as, well, they turned the jewelry over, so what do I do next? And it comes down to, which I like, but which the other tables seem to struggle with.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that real quick, and then we'll end up. It comes down to that the players do have to role play, which I like. And we had fun with it. We're basically starting a gang war between, the thugs that are the Flaming Fist, who are like mercenary thugs, and the guardsmen who are kind of assholes because they cut your finger off without any evidence if somebody says you're a thief. So I've at this point, my character's decided neither of these guys are good guys.
Yeah.
They're all representing what I consider is probably a lawful evil city. I still don't like the thief group. I think that they're bad too, and they're going to ask people to do bad stuff. I think everybody in the city is just bad.
Yeah.
And, it comes down to, well, what do we want to do to make the encounter fun? So we're starting a war between these 2 groups of bad guys, if we can.
Yeah.
And the problem is, when you listen to the other tables, the DMs are like, okay, what do you do? And the table, not much is happening. They're lucky that they get through their one encounter, and if they don't have somebody
an encounter.
Well, they did have something. I mean, they both had the thief thing where they had to go track down whatever was happening.
No, the table that was right next to behind.
I know, and I talked to them.
Guys.
The thing is, they both had the same encounter where it was a matter of there was not arson, tagging going on the walls, and they were supposed to chase them down, find out, and then somebody was burning a building down and crap like that. And once that's over, it was like, okay, we're ahead. We're 40 minutes.
They didn't even get to do that because they were non-committal and.
No, but they did. The one table went through all this. The other one, they were being non-committal, and I think they got led to it. But the problem was, they had 1 or 2 experienced players, and they didn't do what I did and take charge of the table.
Yeah.
But the other table, they ended up doing one thing, but again, it was experienced players, and they didn't take charge of the table.
Well, I know the one table did say they didn't have any combat because the DM tried rolling on the crappy random encounter table, and he ended up with a guy playing a flute with a monkey on his shoulder.
It's ridiculous.
So they ended up having to waste 2 hours doing nothing.
But that's a real issue. I mean, encounters, I like that they're trying to incorporate role play in, but when you have new players coming to the game who are not experienced, they're not like, okay, how can I start trouble? Or my character right now is just, how can I start some trouble for these people who are assholes?
Yeah.
That's my character's motivation at this point. I'm starting trouble for people who I see as bad people. And I don't mind killing a few of them to do it.
Yeah.
Because they're not good people. And none of those people that we killed are good people.
No.
Now, granted, my character's neutral. I don't feel that at this point I'm flipping the evil. I'll try and do something good next week to offset it, since it's about balance.
Yeah.
But I don't think killing bad people is going to flip me to being evil. I'm just killing people I perceive as being bad.
Yeah.
But the problem is, yes, we're able to role play, that's good, but there's no guidance for the DM to help him drive the role play. I really feel like you need to try to force it more, not let it be as open on the table, or you're going to end up with me just winging it and crazy shit happening.
I forced it as much as I possibly
Well, you
could
did.
tonight.
You know, the first encounter we said, well, can we go talk to the Duke? You're like, well, on your way, these guys come up to you. And unfortunately, that was the whole encounter.
Yeah.
That was the night. And I can't see us being over 40 minutes in because we kill these guys and we're done.
Yeah.
So that's why we had to do what we did. We ran around, we had fun, we framed each group, and it was fun. It was funny.
Well, you did go to the Duke, and what happened?
Well, we asked him what was the deal with his law. And he was like, well, that Parliament passed it. I was against it, but there was nothing really I could do.
Well, he didn't say it was against it. He just said that Parliament had his hands tied.
No, he had his hands tied. Parliament passed the law, and he had his hands tied. There's nothing he could do.
Yeah.
But, I just think it's bad game design. I know that the idea is more experienced DMs running it, but that's really the antithesis of encounters.
I think with these characters, there's what is it? 3 characters.
Yes.
One should be like a good person, one should be a neutral person, and one should be an evil person.
And it doesn't look like that's the case. It's everybody's either neutral and swaying towards bad or just bad. And like I said, from what I'm seeing, this is just an evil city, and nobody really in their right mind wants to go
Silver Shield
here.
or Raven Guard should be good.
Well, one of them should be, but I don't see where they are.
Raven Guard, Silver Shield shouldn't be neutral. And then the guild people should either be neutral or evil.
So, yeah, that's the way it should be. But let's face it, this is what we have. We're gonna have fun playing it, and we'll keep going throughout the season. Don't be surprised if I do batshit crazy stuff at the table.
Because that's just your character.
That's what my character's going to do to make us take the 2 hours up. I will make sure that we get our time's worth, and we're not leaving an hour, 45 minutes in like we could have possibly done last night if we hadn't have pushed it and done what we did.
Yeah.
But that's basically encounters last night. Got in a fight because of a stupid law, and we could have just put the stuff away and we would have been done 5 minutes in, or you have to instigate something and kill off the guard.
Yeah.
That was our only choice. And then after that, it came down to what do we want to do? Well, we didn't want to get in trouble for killing the guard, so we framed the fist, and then we went and framed the guard for killing the fist in revenge, and we'll see how this all works out.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens next week. Right now, I'm not really hopeful that it's going to get much better.
No.
Because the encounter book itself gives you such little information that it's going to be very minor skirmishes. Not the stuff we're used to where it takes up 2 hours and you're not sitting there with one player trying to encourage the player to the table to do other stuff.
But I think we're getting sidetracked with...
No, that still has to do with the encounter. So we're not sidetracked. It's just taking a little longer than we expected.
But I think part of the issue is the monsters aren't the correct power level for the characters, considering the characters can deal so much damage and the monsters have very little chance of hitting, while you guys have a very high
Well,
chance.
it's not going to help now, too, that some of us or most of us now have leveled to level 2.
Yeah.
Because we're getting extra encounters out of the deal these weeks, which I think you need to start paring down the stuff. So it's going to take a solid 3 to 4 more weeks before we get to 950.
Yeah.
But you need to, in 3 to 4 weeks, make sure we are 3rd level so that we're moving towards 4th by the time we're done with this thing.
Yeah.
Not that it will really matter because you don't do anything with these characters when you're done.
Yeah. But anyways, let's wrap this up.
Okay, but so that was encounters. That was the 2nd week of Baldur's Gate. Next week, I have no idea what's happening. I don't have any DM knowledge, and you hide the book, so that's fine.
3rd week, if you count the Saturday event.
We're not counting the Saturday event. This is the 2nd week because a lot of people didn't play the Saturday event.
Yeah.
So next week, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the Duke will have something for us to do, and it'll be a little more meaningful and not just as convoluted as, well, guards run into you, maybe you have an encounter, maybe you don't.
Yeah. But
So, poor writing on your part, Wizards. I'm sorry, but the potential for a 5-minute encounter...
they're not wizards, they're mages.
Yeah, Mages of the Coast. Sorry, Mages of the Coast. Yes, you should change your name since you changed Wizards to Mages. But I'm sorry, but writing something that's a potential 5-minute encounter and done, It's piss poor work on your part.
But thanks for watching or listening or whatever you did. If you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe to the podcast feed and also click the YouTube link and subscribe to that too. If you're watching the video, subscribe to our YouTube and click the link to our blog and subscribe to our podcast feed and RSS
And either way,
feed.
do it. Just click everything and subscribe everywhere, and you get everything from us.
You subscribe to everything you can possibly subscribe to. Yeah,
Exactly. So, thanks for watching. That's pretty much it. Tomorrow we'll have our alignment thing up.
Yep.
And this weekend, our first week of GURPS. I know you're nervous about that, about how it's going to run, since this is your world and campaign, but I'm thinking
I'm nervous that you guys are going to mess it up somehow and go and kill somebody that you shouldn't kill.
I've built my guy so he can kill somebody. You've seen how he's built. He's going to be...
Or attempt to kill somebody that you can't actually take and they end up killing you. But that's more your part, and then you re-roll characters, and then you can restart and hopefully not...
I might
make that
re-roll a
mistake
character
again.
just in case.
Yeah. Please don't do that.
So, all right, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you, or you'll hear us tomorrow. RPG Dad signing off.
Bye.